Little Devil is a comedy drama feature film. It actually started off as a short film about a mischievous disabled girl who, after a crazy party, gets in a male escort to help satisfy some sexual desires, very normal sexual desires.
You know, on some occasions, an escort gets paid purely for its company.
Yeah, but this isn't one of those occasions, is it? And no French Trojan, but I don't really think your conversation is worth paying for.
And was a simple film all set over one day about what happened with that relationship.
She ends up finding herself living with her best friend, Jason, in London, and she wants to start a new life.
And we expanded the story to be set from over just one day to possibly, I think, over a year in the end.
She finds it quite difficult moving to a big city.
And what the feature length did really was tell a much grander story about Alice and her disability and the issues that raises.
Alice meets a lot of characters on her journey moving to London. She has a scrape with a few London hoodies. She encounters a very bizarre but charming drug dealer.
My character is Mickey, and he's the worst drug dealer in the world. It's completely off his nut.
Her flatmate Jason is a bit of a character for his own, and it's a bit of a shock to her moving in with someone so flamboyant. We even get to meet a gimp character. I've been sworn to secrecy as to who the gimp actually is.
And just hope you're not Willie and Shatner underneath there.
There are even a few mafia gangster hanging around.
She's quite a radical character. She steals, she cheats, she rips people off.
In the bottom drawer, oh, do you know what, Mickey? Silly me. I think it might be under the bed. Just have a quick look under the bed, alright?
She peddles drugs, she stitches up her drug dealer. Why did she become this kind of character? That's what we explored in the feature version.
The most significant person in Alice's life throughout the film is who is a male escort.
It kind of turns into a relationship that's slightly different.
We have some very awkward moments, and that's where our relationship first starts, but it's not necessarily what people would first imagine.
And until we reach a conclusion at the end, which I think some people find surprising in terms of what's driving Alice. It isn't quite clear at the beginning what is motivating this girl to behave in the bad way she does, to behave like a little devil, I suppose. So yeah, I'd been looking for an idea to do, and I ran into Sam RENKE, our actress, at a party, a quite crazy party. And we actually got on quite well, and we just got chatting, and we started getting a bit silly. We done some improvisations, and we took this kind of silly little picture, just captured quite a nice, crazy kind of moment. We just started having fun with a notion about, you know, how people with disabilities or in a wheelchair can look very innocent and how they might be able to get away with certain things. Sam was telling me a bit about her life and the problems she'd had with developing relationships and, you know, developing healthy sexual relationships with partners and boyfriends, and just how difficult that was for someone in her position, really. I'd been making quite a lot of short films over the years, and I'd been looking for an idea to do, and nothing had came along, and to be honest, I didn't want to make another film or invest my time and money in a project unless I had an idea that I thought was very engaging and that had legs and actually had something to say. I really don't think there's a point in making a film, you know, beyond if you're making a straightforward horror or something, unless you've got something to say. Dealing with disabilities, people's perceptions of what a normal relationship is, and really I wanted to twist that into something that was quite dangerous, that, you know, perhaps we hadn't seen before.
I decided to do the film Little Devil because I'd recently moved to London. I was looking for new opportunities, and this came about, and I'd done a little bit of amateur acting before in high school. Given that I was the lead character and I did have a disability, that was really one of the main reasons I decided to take on the role. I thought that people never really get to see a disabled person as a lead. They're usually, you know, very small parts.
She left behind a very good job. She was teaching. She speaks several languages, but she really felt like there was something more she could do with her life, and there was a lot more she might be able to do with sending out the disability message. So we worked on more improvisations. We sat down, we took some elements of her life.
From a very young age, I've always been quite flamboyant, and my parents have encouraged it. but equally what you're saying is, if I used to go anywhere, to a party or anything like that from a very young age, no one would ever approach me.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Like, oh, don't you know. So I've had to learn how to approach people.
Yeah.
We took some elements of my life and some of the experiences we both encountered of living in London and sort of living in the extreme, and we came up with a very loose storyline. I brought in a writer who I'd worked with before, Abraham PAPACOSTA, who's very good at comedy.
The TV series Jericho, it got stopped.
The kind of film I imagine this being is like a John Waters film, which is kind of, it has a very nice kind of sensitive kind of grounding, but also has like an offbeat kind of sensibility. When I think of those kind of midnight movies, those cult movies, it can pretty much be any kind of perversion that you want to throw in there, sexually, comically, unusual characters, people that don't live by traditional rules, I would say. I just love the idea of us creating something like that, tonally, in that kind of like offbeat sense.
You know, first few pages I thought, oh, this is about, you know, shock, schlock. And then when it got into the relationships and the, you know, understanding Alice, character of Alice, and the relationship between Alice and Trojan, that really touched me.
We shot here in East London in the flat where I live with my partner. We have quite a lot of space here.
Mark.
Action. Doorbell.
Oh, hey, come on through, I'm through here.
Howdy! Come in and go, and I love the howdy, I don't want to cut it.
Yeah.
But I come in and go, oh shit, sorry, I must have got the wrong flat. That would be the immediate thing. Yeah. I wouldn't come in.
What about you do the howdy in the hallway as you come through?
That's probably what it is. I found that really interesting that they came together, you know, this escort guy comes together to have a sexual encounter with somebody who appears to be, who's supposed to be someone she's not, turns up at the door and is shocked by her appearance. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I think I got the wrong flat.
No, you're in the right place.
I deliberately asked Abraham to write a script that could be done on a low budget, on a very tight schedule, that didn't require a huge amount of infrastructure and funding.
Working on a low budget film, it means that everybody has to chip in. I didn't get my own personal wardrobe or hairstylist or makeup artist, which I was a little bit disappointed about. Even if you had a specific role, it meant that you had to maybe help out in other areas, which was quite nice. It made it more of a personal accomplishment, and I felt like that it gave me a bit more ownership. Even though I was acting, I also felt like I contributed to the whole process of making the film.
The set we're dressing now, wonderful studio in Vauxhall, and it's a prostitute set. Lots of bondage everywhere, lots of condoms, lots of paraphernalia they'd get from a kinky person, kinky couples.
Sure about Father Christmas's hat though.
Oh, the stocking!
The whips, definitely.
The use of using red in the whole film is so that we show the fact that, yeah, she looks so sweet and innocent, she's in the wheelchair stereotype, but she's actually she's a little devil, she's a minx.
I actually wrote in a key scene to the film that was set on the opening night of the Olympics. It was coming up in July, and we have quite a big scene here of a party where a lot of things come to a head for Alice at this party.
There's lots of people having sex around her, getting boyfriends.
No snogging yet, please. Disgusting.
Hooking up with people, and Alice is left in the corner.
A lot of crazy things happen, a bit like the party where we actually met, I have to say.
Kimberly and Rachel, you'll be sort of here chatting the DJ up.
And I thought it'd be a great backdrop. You know, we already have the Olympic fireworks, we have the stadium off the balcony as a view. Here we have this girl, you know, confined to her wheelchair, and then you have all these able-bodied athletes just across at the stadium, and we also stole all their fireworks for free.
I really enjoyed working with other actors. I felt like I learnt a lot. At first I was quite intimidated because I didn't want to, hinder their performance, because obviously this is all new to me. I tried my best to learn the script. I learnt a lot from them. They were able to give me direction, and I was able to acquire skills when filming from them. It's really quite nice because a lot of the actors actually thought that this was my career and that I'd done acting before, and they were quite surprised when they found out that this was my first acting role.
I think one of the key elements of filming Little Devil was actually securing an actor like Diobia Parry to play the lead role.
I've never done a indie short before. I've always worked on features, and I just felt like, for me, I've often done action. I often do action movies, Pirates of the Caribbean, Thunderbirds. All the stuff I do is kind of action, and I love it, love it, love it. So playing this kind of character on screen is awesome for me. It's just different.
Gary Davey casting was very helpful in bringing him on board, and I think Diobi's going places, you know, and I was so chuffed that he was interested. He is such a fine actor. He really brings something to this film. He really was interested in playing this kind of, you know, bizarre, washed-up character.
He was great fun to work with. He's a true professional. We made quite a good team. I mean, physically we're very different people, and on camera that comes across as quite striking. I mean, he looks like he could just pick me up with one hand and carry me around. I asked him to do that, he said no. Because of the nature of the film, it touched on some subjects that maybe no one has ever touched on. And that was a reason why he came on board with the film, because he was intrigued by my character Alice.
Do you see my legs?
Do see your legs, and I'm quite liking it because it's sort of like creating a divide.
We've covered scenes from lots of angles, so I think it's going to give it a very three-dimensional feel to the storyline, and done a bit of improvisation with the action as well. We're trying to shoot everything from Sam's perspective, so that means I get to do a lot of sitting down in a wheelchair.
One of the helpful things was one of Sam's dearest friends, who she's known since a child, Nathan, is an actor. I thought it was good to actually cast him in one of the bigger parts in the film, which is playing a character called Jason.
I know him inside out, and we've known each other since we were 13 years old.
I thought it would be a good exercise to cushion Alice with an actor that she knows very well, that was close to her, that she felt very comfortable working with.
I think that shows on screen. We had some serious scenes together and some jokey scenes together. It took about 20 takes in one scene because I was making Nathan laugh. What magazine am I selling? Fitness Magazine UK, because I'm a fitness fanatic, obviously, and I am sat on a Yellow Pages. It's very comfortable, just to give me a little bit more height. But we are picking up a scene where I get a lovely date.
I'm Steve, who is the bad date that sends Alice into the spiral of debauchery and devilment. Nice guy about being slim, so to get the date, and then it all goes horribly wrong when they meet. And for this bit, this is just the phone conversation where we set up the blind date.
Just wind it back then, so ask him, are you interested?
Okay, so, are you interested?
You're making me quite interested.
No, I don't come with a subscription.
Oh, you should. You'd sell a fortune. Your voice is sexy.
We shot scenes at a call centre where she gets fired from. We shot scenes of her going on disastrous dates with various people. We shot other scenes of her, you know, encountering quite nasty characters that use and exploit and steal from her.
From the very beginning of the film, Alice has an ulterior motive, something that's quite personal to her, and it's a driving point for everything that she does in London. I think that she doesn't enjoy necessarily behaving this way, but she sees it as a means to an end. If people are going to take advantage of her, then why not the other way around?
And the film concluded down in Dungeness in Kent, which is it's a fantastic landscape. I've always wanted to film something there. It's like a lot of the stuff in the landscape had just been plonked there by some weird tornado from the Wizard of Oz or something. And it's very washed up, a bit like Trojan Rock is a very washed up stage in his life, and I just thought that bleak, broken, washed up landscape would add another layer to the visuals. It also represents quite a lot in the story in terms of the miniature train that's there, that Alice and the character Trojan end up taking a ride on. I'm assuming she went there as a child in the backstory of the character. And just the nuclear power station that's down there, in fact there's a line which says it all, where Trojan says, you know, nuclear energy, it's amazing you can take something so small and create something so powerful and amazing, I think. And really that's a reflection of what Alice's character is. She's a very strong, powerful character, but trapped in a very small body.
Yeah, the hardest thing on working on Little Devil was, first of all, being on location. You know, we had to take into consideration my wheelchair.
Tania, we going with you, right? Okay.
And make the film accessible to me. We spent a lovely day by the seaside, where it was a beautiful sunshine, However, because of the reflection from the camera, I wasn't able to wear glasses or a hat, so I got royally burnt. I wasn't allowed to go to the toilet because as soon as I got placed on a beach, it was quite difficult to take me off the beach. I did get a little bit diva-ish. I did want to demand, you know, a pay rise and someone to fan me. At the end of the scene, I actually had to be quite emotional and get upset, and believe me, that wasn't acting. It's because my bladder was so full, I was about to burst. Well, I'm hoping on my next film that I'm going to get my own personal hairstylist, entourage, bodyguard, Winnebago. That would be really nice. I want some caterers. I would also like a few people to be carrying me around on a pillow instead of a wheelchair, maybe possibly half-naked men.
Yobi, can you wear crotchless knickers on Friday?
Oh, I'd love to, but I'm not being paid for Friday.
Working with her was such a joy because she's very positive, she's very outgoing, she doesn't bark on about disability all the time, and she's so proactive in everything she does. And the fact that she invested, you know, perhaps on and off 6 months of her life working on this film with me, helping with the writing, all the rehearsals we've done together, all the casting we've done together, and then being able to turn in an amazing performance is real proof of you know the strong-willed and determined person that she is in real life.
So now I've got the taste for acting, and I think I'm rather good at it. I would love to be in a Hollywood film. If they would really remake Titanic, I think I'd do a very good Kate Winslet. Strap the wheelchair onto the boat. Leonardo DiCaprio, if he's out there, I'm sure he'd love to work with me.
And you know, there's some quite uncomfortable scenes there. They were quite touching and quite difficult to film, some of the sequences actually. But you know, this is reflective of what Sam's life is. It is difficult and it is uncomfortable. She's confined to a wheelchair.
What is this little bone disease?
It's brittle bones. And it's not disease. I mean, you're not going to catch anything from me.
And by the very nature of who she is and what she strives for, you know, she can end up in some quite awkward situations herself. And I think in this film I've tried to reflect that.
Contrary to popular belief, I would not like to be in any of the Star Wars films. Neither would I be in a modern take on Snow White. Be very, very annoyed if anyone were to dress me up as an elf.